Hi guys out there in YouTube land, it's your VHS collector Kyle here with another video! Finally, another video from this guy, the guy that bores everybody to death and puts them to sleep, you know. I thought I might not really try anything new, but I'm going to do another I'm going to do another top 12 video today. I was reading the comics in the newspapers, and I was like, man, there's a lot of comic strips that are no longer in the regular newspaper. Yeah, I understand the Sunday newspaper always gets all of the colorful, you know, comic strips, but our newspaper, where I grew up, there used to be almost a whole page just full of them. Now it's just like, I'd say maybe five or six certain comic strips that are pretty much, you know, so that pretty much are in my local newspaper. So I thought I'd do a top 12 of my top 12 favorite comic strips, and I have some props to show you. I also have my list I'm going to read off, so even though I'm reading off a list, I'm not trying to remember anything. I'll try to remember some of the things about the comic strips I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and get right down to it. And if anybody don't know these characters, look them up. I promise you, you'll be able to, you know. And I'll be showing some pictures and comic strips of them throughout as I'm talking. So you won't see me all the time boring you to death. You'll at least get to see some pretty lovely pictures. So let's go ahead and get, like I said, number 12. Barney, Google, and Snuffy Smith. They're still going strong today. There's still new ones coming out. You won't believe whenever it was produced or whenever it first came to the newspapers. 1919. The year was June 17th of 1919. Can you believe that? A comic strip about I believe Barney Google pretty much was the main character of the comic strip back in whenever it first started. And then Snuffy Smith came along, which everybody knows who Snuffy Smith is. Snuffy Smith, yeah, that's pretty much what his name is, and that's kind of funny, like Snuffy almost in a way, like, you know. But he was I don't know if his character was anything unusual. I mean, he was a guy that ended up winning a horse called Sparkplug. I think he always would bet on horses, I think, is whatever he did back in the early times of the comic strip that was coming out. Later on, during the 30s, there were some cartoons. I think there was there's about maybe 6, 7 shorts, live action films back in the 20s or 30s of this character, Barney Google. I could never really find any online to show you, but there was a guy, I think his name was either Barney Helium, I don't know. I mean, I'll post this picture up and everything to show you whatever he looked like. He played that character. Later on, you know, there was animated cartoons that they did, animated shorts that they did during the 30s of Barney Google and Snuffy Smith. And then it wasn't until about the 50s and the 60s that there was cartoon, like animated, like colored cartoons. These are all black and white that were in the 30s that were animated, and Snuffy Smith was in it more often than Barney Google. Even during the early days of the 30s, Barney Google kind of started getting his, his character pushed out of the way, and Snuffy Smith started, you know, getting his character pushed in. And it wasn't until about the 80s and 90s that Barney Google started coming back, or 70s and 60s and stuff like that. His character actually started coming back in the comic. Pretty neat comic. I've always liked it. Number 11, Hagar the Horrible. Now these aren't going to be in order, so the years are going to be out of order too. So. He was created in '73. Come to find out that his sons used to call, or the guy that created Hagar the Horrible, his sons used to call him, call their dad Hagar the Terrible, and that's where he came up with the name. Was he came up with Hagar? I mean, as in Hagar was his nickname that his sons or children would call him, and so later on he finally created it into a comic strip in '73. It debuted February 4th of 1973. There's been a lot of, I mean, pretty much, I mean, all it is just a Viking guy with his family, his wife, his son, his daughter, and his dog, and he goes out and pillages, villages, because this is supposed to be set back in those days of the Vikings and stuff, and he has a friend that I think that he's an idiot or something. I can't, like the name of his is like something the idiot. I can't remember. I know I'm bad with names and I'm bad with, I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. I'll pop up on the screen like I normally have to do. There are some really funny ones I've always liked. There was a little animated special they did of Hagar the Horrible that HannaBarbera did back in the 80s. That I think showed on NBC or ABC, one of those two. ABC, CBS, or NBC, one of those things. I don't know. You know me. I'm not going to remember. I'm not going to write down every single thing, so it'll still pop up on the screen and all. And another good comic strip I've always enjoyed getting to read in the comics. Number 10, BC, Before Christ, is whatever it stands for. He created it in 1958. It was February 17th of 1958. The guy who created it. I'm telling you, I should have wrote these guys down before I started doing this video, and I didn't. But oh well, who cares about that? Pretty much it's about, cave people, cavemen, and dinosaurs, and there's animals, and pretty much what goes on in a caveman's life, is pretty much all it is. My favorite ones are the animals. There's ants you get to see. There's a tortoise and a bird that walk around sometimes, talk about stuff. Dinosaurs, the cave people, all have stuff. There's like supposed to be an intelligent cave person. There's only, I think, 2 cave women, and one of them is like kind of real sexy looking. The other one's kind of all kind of, hate to body shame a comic strip character, but that she's the one that always chases them around with her club and stuff. There was a couple of specials they did, Thanksgiving special they did, and the Christmas special they did that aired during the 80s, the early 80s, which I never got to see. I recently, a couple, just of last year, I actually found them on YouTube, so I pretty much made me, or I watched them. I didn't make it. I watched them on YouTube during the time of Thanksgiving and Christmas. Really cool. I mean, really good. Short. Or specials. I wish they kind of would air them some more. I wish they'd air them again during the, just re-air some of the old Christmas classics. Sorry, I'm sweating a lot. I'm telling you. I am sweating a lot. Pretty cool specials, like I said. I kind of wish that they would bring them back and re-air them on TV. Really good specials that they did of BC. Number 9, Beetle Bailey. All the ones I've been talking about so far are still having new strips. They're not like rerun strips and stuff like some comic strips are, due to either their creator passing away or retiring and not handing it up, the reins over to someone else. Beetle Bailey, it came out in 1950, so you'd figure it would have, because it's based on a guy that is in the Army. Now, I didn't know this, but I read up on it that when the strip had first premiered, which is September 4th of 1950, whenever it first got printed in the newspaper, Beetle was a college student. He was going to college at the time that this that the strip was being produced, and it wasn't until I think a year that the creator ended up deciding, And it was because the creator ended up joining into the army during the time that he was doing this comic strip. So he decided, hey, how about if I do Beetle Bailey that way? So Beetle Bailey dropped out of college and went to the army, and so that's pretty much where he's always been ever since. And there is new strips of Beetle Bailey coming out too. There was some Beetle Bailey animated shorts that came out back in the 60s, early 60s. I haven't ever watched them. I haven't ever actually looked at them or not. I'll be showing some of the little clips here. There was a HannaBarbera special, unaired special that never aired, which unaired, but that never aired on TV. But you can buy the DVD set, and it has the special with it, which I wouldn't mind buying, just because I'm always into animation. I've always loved animation, and comic strips are just a comic book, just only one panel or 3 or 4 panels. There was also a segment that Sesame Street used. Only one. I thought there was more than one. I thought they had maybe little different little segments, but it aired during the 70s and part of the 80s, reran that is, of a segment they did with Beetle Bailey character, animated. Pretty much it was a little animated segment on Sesame Street, and it was to teach kids first and last. It was pretty cool. I'll try to maybe find it and post it. As in show it as I'm talking about it right now, and you'll be able to get to see it as I'm talking about it. So, pretty neat comic strip. I've always enjoyed getting to read about them. All the other characters that have been in it, the Chief, the one that always picks on Beetle Bailey, knowing that he's a lazy character. Like somebody I know at work. But don't. Alright, number 8. I didn't realize this. Andy Capp. Does anybody know who Andy Capp is? He wasn't actually created in the U.S. Most of these that I'm reading have all been created, from Andy Capp's character, or pretty much comic, was a British. He was a British comic strip. So he wasn't an American comic strip that was made here in America. It was made in British. I would have never known that. A lot of people might not know, but you might know who Andy Capp is if you know about the hot fries, barbecue fries, cheddar fries, all those different flavors that they have. Those bags, the little bags of corn chips and stuff. That's Andy Capp. That's on the bag. He became a mascot during the 50s. He was pretty much premiered in 1957 in British, and then after a while he finally came over to the American. Like they ended up, letting his comic strip come over to America and be in newspapers over here. So that's kind of cool, and I'm pretty sure in other countries too. There was a British live-action series that they did of Andy Capp. Haven't ever found any. I haven't found any clips. I haven't actually looked, which I thought was kind of neat. I hadn't seen any animated. There might have been an animated Andy Capp somewhere. Back to the chips though. Back to the hot fries. There used to be a little comic strip on the back of the bag. There's not anymore. But that's where I pretty much came across him. That's how I found out about him. I didn't know he was. I always thought he was just the character, and he had his own little comic strip on the back of his food, his chips or whatever you want to call, and everything. I didn't realize that. I didn't know he was British. I didn't know he was created over in the British. Pretty cool. Well, guys, that's it for this our part 1 of this comic strip top 12. Sorry I'm having to slice it up into parts. It was so long, I didn't want people having to sit through 35 minutes of me rambling on about 12 of my favorite comic strips, so I figured I'd just do this. All you're going to probably be hearing right now is just my voice and not the videos, so Well, till next time, guys, this is your VHS Collector Kyle saying, frogs, bears, chickens, and things, boys and girls, women and men, from all over the world, I'll see you next time. Bye!